Test 1 2 3. What's going on, team? It's Ricky with Techwood Solutions, and today we're going to be covering the PPI report that gets released in 3 minutes, and we're going to see how the market reacts. So we talked about the PPI report, the Producer Price Index. The reason it could be super useful to understand, if inflation has actually peaked. Is one of the ways that the PPI report is utilized is if we can see that inflation is actually beginning to peak already on the producer side, then we can kind of expect that in the months that follow, we could see inflation begin to come down on the consumer side, right? So if producers are beginning to see a drop in the cost of their manufacturing goods, then that means that most likely we could see a drop on the consumer side. So something to look forward to. Again, this report gets released in about 2 minutes, and we shall see which way the market ends up reacting. So right now, SQQQ is still indicating signs of an uptrend. It's up 3% on not the day, but during the extended hours. Yesterday, after that CPI data report, we gapped up about 6 to 7%, and then we gave it all back pretty much by the time the market closed. So I'm very happy that in yesterday's live stream we talked about locking in profits and why it's so important to do that, especially in overbought levels. So good morning. How are you guys all doing today? Let me go ahead and post this. All right. We buying puts or what? Alright, that should be any minute now. Let's see how the market reacts. Okay, so this is SQQQ. This goes up when the market goes down. So if we see this thing act in a bullish way, that means that most likely your tech stocks or the stocks that we're long on are probably dropping. So just a little heads up. All right, any second. Here we go, 5:30. Let's see which way we head. Let's see what I could actually. Not really reacting too much. Wow, that's. Okay, so nope, that's still 6:14. Do you guys see it on your side yet? Good morning. We are not really moving at all. Which, if we're not moving in a negative way, we're most likely going to be moving in a positive way. Check this out. So we were down about 3% during the pre-market session. Let's see if we could actually begin to trade above the moving average. All right, I do not see it on the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. So let's see. We have PPI down 1.1%. Okay, well, this was the expectation of 0.9, so a little bit worse than expected. But it looks like that was already factored into the market, especially after yesterday's performance. So Wow, that was not really the reaction that I personally wanted myself. Yep, 1.1%. That's what I see right on over here, right? Actual 1.1, expectation was 0.9, so definitely not as bad as that CPI report that we received yesterday. Let's see if we see it here. There it goes. New, up to date. So goods rise 2.4%, services increase 0.4%. So overall demand advances 1.1%. So we still saw a 1.1% increase in the month of June. Final demand numbers moved to 11.3%. If I'm not mistaken, last month we were at 10.6%. So that is quite a bit of a jump. Let's go ahead and download this on the PDF. But again, market is not reacting in a negative way. So I mean, we could say that, wow, this is a lot worse than expected. I mean, the overall expectation was 0.9, and it reported a 1.1. It's not as bad as that CPI data report though. So, but we did see a pretty, decent jump for the month of June. Okay, here we go. 1.1, we got 0.3, 2.4. So food with a 0.1, energy with a 10-point jump. Obviously, energy again, one of the biggest contributing factors. Then we have a 0.5 from lots of good services, 0.4, 0.8, 0.8, 0.1. Seasonal adjusted at 11.3. Oh, it looks like it was seasonally adjusted based off of last month at 10.9. So I actually thought it was at 10.6, but it looks like, again, it was definitely not as bad as what we expected. So doesn't high PPI mean companies would have less profit? Well, yes, it means that the cost of manufacturing on the producer side, that is the rate, that is the increase of inflation that we're seeing on the producing side. Does that normally follow through with consumers? Of course, right? So this is why they have that set expectation of June being the peak of this. As again, you need to begin to ask yourself, like, what is the biggest contributing factor when it comes down to all of this, right? Month over month, which one had the biggest jump? So let's look at this on a horizontal way, right? Because we're looking at for the month of June versus the month of May. So for the month of June, we could see that one of the biggest jumps that we saw for the overall month of June is the energy sector. I mean, this is something that, like, we've talked about over and over again. I mean, there's not really another area that's seen such a significant and drastic jump, not only on the producing side, but of course on the consumer side. And this is something that is also not included in the core PPI, right? The reason, again, it's not included in the core PPI is because the Federal Reserve knows that they cannot change nor fix the prices of food and energy, pretty much, right? And energy in any form of way. So anything with fuel costs, if it's natural gas, if it's gasoline at the pump, I mean, it doesn't matter how much the Federal Reserve raises interest rates. They understand that that is not something that they could actually influence themselves. So what are your thoughts? I think because we didn't react in a super negative way based off of yesterday's performance, it wouldn't be much of a surprise if the market actually does begin to indicate signs of an uptrend. But as of right now, we are not showing any signs of this. I mean, we are still trading below the moving average, right? So instead of like selling myself the idea of like, hey, now is the time to trade, now is the time to enter, one of the things that you want to remind yourself is, first off, market's been pretty shaky based off of yesterday's performance. Don't put yourself in a position that you can't tolerate. Don't waste a day trade if you don't have to. That's one of the first things that I want to say. I'm all about trading if the opportunity makes sense. My job here on YouTube, unlike other people, is to encourage you to be selective for your future self. Just because I trade something does not mean that you should. We all tolerate risk in different ways, so I need you to understand that. Right now, just ask yourself a very simple question. Now, seeing that we are trading below this channel, right? This overall descending channel of the moving average. We were making lower lows and lower highs below the EMA. We are barely showing signs of a potential reversal, and right away, you already want to jump on in. Sure, it could pay off, but I think if the past 7 months have taught us anything, is that being selective is never a bad quality to have, especially with current market conditions. Let me know what you guys think about that. So right now we are down 1.9%, which is actually what we were down during yesterday's aftermarket hours, which isn't very bad. Thank you for the breakdown, Ricky. Of course, John, I appreciate you taking time out of your Thursday. I mean, I know I could be sleeping in just like you guys. And if it wasn't for you guys, I would not be up right now live streaming this. There were enough of you that messaged me over Instagram. There were so many of you that messaged me via Discord and that also commented in yesterday's videos of how much you appreciated the live stream, and also just explaining to me like how it's of value for you to make these simple live streams. So, I mean, it's 5:30 in the morning. I normally have to wake up at 5 to prepare for this. So I appreciate you guys taking time out of your morning and, joining me as well. So if it's not too much to ask, and I get it, I know everyone always asks for this, if you can drop a thumbs up on this video and even consider subscribing, I would really appreciate it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, right? So is there any other questions that I could answer for you? It just doesn't look like the market's reacting in the way that we thought it would. So tuning in from the Philippines, I like that. What's going on, Josh? You have to send us. You have to tag me on Instagram so I can see what it's like over there in the Philippines. I've always wanted to go visit. Also, friendly reminder, and I mean this in a very encouraging way, because I know that a lot of you that might be watching this are just getting started. You might have never messaged me before, and I get it that it can be daunting, right? Because of maybe you think that your question is going to be too silly. You think, I don't want you to feel embarrassed. If you have a specific question that you would like to ask me and you've been struggling to figure it out, I hope that I want you to know, this is why I'm here. I want you to be able to message me via Discord and or on Instagram. So the first link down below is our free Discord chat. Introduce yourself, explain to me what your goal is, what your question is, and how you think I can assist you there. That's all. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I will never tell you what stock to buy. Don't ask me those questions. I will never do that. I'm here to assist you in overcoming any challenges that you encounter as you're just getting started. That's where I think the most value is, right? In a world full of problems, learn to be a problem solver. So again, if you have specific questions that you would like to ask me, first link down below is our free trading group chat. We have over 45,000 members, and yes, it is for free. Or feel free to message me on Instagram, and that's that third link in the description of this video. If you don't see the links, refresh this video or refresh this live stream, and you should see all the links down below. Let's see, from Venezuela. Also, friendly reminder, you'll see the third link. I only have one Instagram account. I'm verified on Instagram finally. All the other accounts are fake. All of them are fake. So if you get any other Ricky account that's messaging you, that's following you, that's asking to trade for you, to send them money, those are all fake. Please report them. Please know that my only Instagram account is verified, and it's linked down below. So who publishes the CPI and PPI? Can they be manipulated? So Michael, it is actually posted by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I mean, sure, just like anything, it can be manipulated, but it is what it is, right? I'm not here to start any controversial or controversy. I mean, it is what it is. This is what's being reported on a monthly basis. I don't think it's being manipulated, right? So I would not use that as an excuse. What do you think about Carvana at the current price point? That's a good question. So Carvana is a company that's actually based in Arizona, right? And it's so unfortunate to see that one of the most successful companies during COVID based off of its growth and how quickly it was growing. You know, it was the top used car dealership in the entire United States, went from $376 all the way right now to $20 a share. They just continue to lay off people. They're just really struggling. I think they scaled too soon, too quickly, and the cheap can get cheaper. That's one thing that you will always hear me say if you're part of my Learn Plan Profit group is during our live trading sessions, I always remind people that your job is not to predict the bottom of a stock. Your job is just to enter when it makes sense. So instead of trying to predict the bottom of a stock, just like this thing has been selling off for an entire year, just set your alerts. Just set your alerts on when this thing begins to actually indicate signs of an uptrend and then follow up with it. You don't need to be perfect. There's enough upside margin that you can miss out on a small amount. Your job is to make sense of what opportunities are actually worth taking advantage of, not just hoping that it does well. This felt like a spider on my leg, Jesus. But good question. The real account is the one with the blue dot, right? It has a blue check mark. And again, it's linked in the description of this video. It's the third link down below. What do you think about Alibaba? I mean, again, going through the scrutiny of what they've experienced through China, right? And how it's restricting them. And I mean, Jack Ma isn't even the acting CEO anymore, and they just continue to throw him under the bus because of, I guess, how outspoken he was. Same thing. It used to be super bullish, thriving at highs of 319, and now it's trading at 109, right? So again, asking yourself a simple question: are you missing out by not being invested? I would say that it's in the very early stages for a potential recovery. It still has a lot to prove. I wouldn't rush into it. I would just set alerts and again, stay effective. During very uncertain times, your job's not to be scared. Your job is just to be selective. So that's, I thought Ricky had a puppy and was saying hello. No, I think there's like a spider on me or something like that. Is today bullish? No, during the pre-market session as of right now, the market looks a little bit more on the bearish side, right? So one of the useful indicators, and you guys can let me know what you think, but I like going on the 5-minute time frame during the pre-market session, and I like to ask myself, if I were to put an arrow at the end of the moving average, which is this green line, which direction would it be pointing? Not the EMA, but the moving average. The moving average moves a little bit slower for me because it has a length of 200. If I were to put an arrow at the end of this moving average, which direction would it be pointing, down or up? And that's what gives me a better understanding of that determines the direction as of now, right? We could easily see that based off of at least the past 2 days going into the third one, we've definitely been pointing down. And although we have little runs, they're short-lived and just it continues to sell off. Direction is so important when it comes down to day trading. It's everything, right? If you don't have direction, if momentum is not in your favor, then again, you're adding another layer of risk because now you have to be even more effective with your entries and your exits, as that stock is most likely making lower highs and lower lows as well. Alrighty. So what do you think about Apple? Apple's a stock, and again, this is just 100% my opinion. I'm not here to convince you, so I want to make sure that you're aware of that. But Apple's a stock that I bought the dip on, it's one of the most valuable companies that's publicly traded. I bought a couple of shares even at the low, 140s. Right now it's at 145. I think it's a great play for a long-term investment. I don't think Apple's going anywhere anytime soon. It offers 20 to 25% ROI. I feel like, again, it's just a safe play if you can tolerate it. It offers, imagine being able to make 25% return on a safe play. I think it's insane. But I think the reason a lot of people aren't paying attention to it is because crypto used to be able to make 25% in a day, right? And a lot of people were spoiled with that type of growth. I view Apple to be a consistent and a long-term play, and it's something that I choose I really want to be a part of. So I've decided to invest in it, and I don't need it to recover anytime soon. And that's one of the things that I always try to remind our Learn Plan Profit traders is, I feel like mindset and intention is huge when it comes down to trading and investing, right? And if you can determine what your intent is, and if you can understand the timeline that it will take to tolerate that recovery, then I think you're putting yourself in a better mental position. So, with Apple, I don't need it to recover anytime soon, and I can tolerate the time that it will take for Apple to recover. And my understanding of that is, my intention with that is, I know that it will take time, and I'm okay with that, and I still see it to be worth it. So again, going into it, I already know that it's going to take time. I don't need it to recover in a week or in a month or even in a couple of months. I know that it's going to take time, and that's okay with me, right? I think that's what's most important, is anytime that you choose to take a position, determine your intention. Is your intention to make money now, or is the intention to make money in the future? And then ask yourself, does it actually make sense that I would make money now? Or is this stock still actively selling off? So do you still continue to buy the dip? So I don't continue to buy the dip, but yes, I do still have Amazon. And I like being open about this. I do still own Amazon. I still own Tesla. I still own Apple. I bought the dip on them, but I bought it with a specific position size. Just because I bought the dip, I don't average down into my position. That's like something that I've never been big on. I think it's because that's how I approach my trading. When it comes down to my long-term plays, I want to buy more when it begins to indicate signs of an uptrend. I want it to earn it, right? So if something is making me money, that should encourage me to want to invest more money into it. That's the way that I view it. I bought enough of Apple at low prices that I don't care how much lower it goes. I'm only going to buy more of Apple when it begins to recover. If it makes me money, I want to add more money. So instead of trying to always buy it at the lowest price point, I know I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect investor, and I've never been a perfect trader. And I understand that of myself. My job is just to add more when it makes sense, not just because I think it's cheap. Because why? Because the cheap can always get cheaper. But again, that's just my approach. If you want to continue to average down into something, that's on you. But what I've noticed, and you guys can let me know in the live chat room, I've noticed, especially on the trading side, that if you just choose to buy the dip, stocks can continue to dip. And then at that point, now you're fully invested at one point or another. And then the second part is, now because you have so much money in this stock, now the timeline and what you're able to tolerate is so much less. Because now you need it to recover. Now you want it to recover soon because you're all in. And I feel like that causes more harm than good when averaging down. So, yeah, that's really just it. What the heck? Dude, some people and their comments absolutely baffle me. That is insane. So when you average down, you'll notice that you're averaging down a week later with the trend. I feel like it just instills hope in you, right? And hope is not a good thing to have in this market. Care to comment on the amount of crack Hunter Biden smokes? I feel like that's a show we've all been watching from afar. Do you own any crypto? I do. I'm not very aggressively invested in crypto. I don't always like making videos about crypto because I view it to be a much riskier form of potential investments, right? And I don't always like to... Anytime... my battery just got cut off. Or my camera. 1 second. Alright. There we go. Sorry about that. Looks like my camera already overheated. Twitter is down. Whoa. What's going on? Twitter's not down that much. They're saying oh, it's just one person saying that. One man spamming. Nice. I need a water-cooled camera. Same. All right. So let me double check this. They're saying that the Twitter app is down. No, it's working for me. And it looks fine. So do you bullish for banks? Value stocks would be in favor. I'm personally not invested in any banks, but that's just my decision. If that's something that you want to partake in, then all power to you. Yeah, Twitter's fine. Twitter's not done. So hi Ricky from Malaysia. What's going on, AR? What's up? Twitter's down for me. Nice. No, not necessarily. So, higher PPI means bad for stocks, good for dollar. So, I mean, the market barely even reacted to that PPI report. So that's kind of upsetting. But one of the things that I know, one of the big focuses that a lot of people have had for the PPI report is at the rate in which it is either increasing or decreasing. And it hasn't been too significant, where if we begin to see a slowdown at the rate that it's increasing, then again, we're seeing a kind of peak for producers and their inflation that they're experiencing at the manufacturing side of things. So that's encouraging for the consumer side of things of what's to follow. So are you bullish? Yeah. So I either stay bullish and or I stay cash. So one of the things that if you look at my video that I uploaded on Friday is we talked about the resistance level right at the moving average, right? We've been getting rejected for that from that moving average all year long. And as soon as it got rejected, I mean, market overall sold off. And we decided to reduce our position size there. Now that the market sold off a little bit, the market reacted to the CPI data report. This is where I like to personally buy a couple of shares, and then as we retest and or indicate signs of an uptrend, that's where you see me averaging up. One of the things that we need to pay attention to is, we've been kind of trading sideways for about 2 to 3 weeks. We have not made new lows, as previous lows are 21.32. So right now we're trading at 24.54. We closed at 25 yesterday, and we have that resistance right around $28 a share. So still trading sideways, and again, just because I choose to go long does not mean that you should, but I see that the market's finally beginning to establish somewhat of their support level, and this is what I personally, have been waiting for, where the market is not getting worse. And by the market not getting worse, the market normally reacts in a positive way. So do you normally enter a position pre-market on a day trade? No, not normally, but again, I enter a trade anytime when I see my criteria to be met. So if I see direction in my favor, if I see that momentum is in place, and if I see upside potential, then I choose to take action. It doesn't matter if it's pre-market, it doesn't matter if it's normal market hours, doesn't matter if it's aftermarket. The idea is to take advantage of an opportunity when your criteria is met, right? Let's say that you're a real estate agent, if they're a real estate investor, if they ask you, hey, when do you buy most of your houses? Is it on a Monday? Is it on a weekday? Is it on a weekend? It's like, well, anytime a deal presents itself, that's my criteria. The time I choose to do it is irrelevant. It's insignificant. Yeah, sometimes there's more activity right at market open within the first 30 minutes or right the last hour of market closed. There's those general things, but it doesn't always work out that way. So instead of trying to generalize something, let's just understand what it actually is. And our focus is to trade when our criteria is met. And we all have different most likely criteria. So let's go, Ricky. My man's always well spoken. I appreciate that. So, hey, Ricky, I joined your LPP group. Yeah, I have it. I mean, I still have the 5,500 shares, and then I bought 1,000 shares yesterday. As the market began to indicate signs of an uptrend, we began to trade above $25 a share. So that's something that we'll talk about in today's live trading session with the Learn Plan Profit Group. So first off, Trent, welcome to the team. But yeah, something that we'll talk about in today's live session. I'm going to close this one out because we're already nearly at that 45-minute mark. But yeah, it's something that we'll talk a little bit more about it's been a question I've been getting quite often of when to average up, when do we step on the gas, when's the market actually indicating signs of an uptrend. So we'll chat about that in just a little bit. So I have 1 minute left here. Again, overall, the PPI report came in at an increase of 1.1%. And this means that overall, we're at 11.3% for the month of June. So that's that PPI report. Again, if you guys have any questions, I cannot stress this enough. I don't care if you think that your question is stupid. I don't want you to feel embarrassed. If you don't want to ask me publicly during this live chat, then send me a direct message via Discord, and that's that first link down below. I want to be a value for you, but the only way I could be a value for you is if you reach out to me, right? I can't answer your question if I don't know that your question exists. So again, that's that first link down below. If you guys want to be able to join my live session as soon as today, we're going to be going live in about 30 minutes. The second link down below is the $100 off discount code for Learn Plan Profit 2.0. Friendly reminder, LPP is a one-time payment. It's literally the only thing I offer. You get lifetime access to the A to Z video lesson library and all the updates. We just updated it actually the beginning of this month. Daily live trading sessions, what we're about to do right at market open, our private group chat, and yes, you get access to the HQ. It's all inclusive. It's a one-time payment. It's a lifetime access. And again, it's asking the question. It's what do you value? What do you think is of value? Do you think having me trade live every morning, being able to assist you, and then being able to update you as the market's always changing, and then being able to visit the HQ, all these different value pieces, is this something that you value? And you could only answer that question yourself, right? If you're just getting started, is this something that would be a value for you? And if so, again, we're running one of our biggest sales. It's $100 off, and that's that second link down below. Also, if you guys haven't already, we're doing an all expenses paid staycation, and we're selecting 3 winners. ShopTechBuds.com. You don't have to do anything crazy. For every $1 you spend, it equals 5 automatic entries. We just did a full restock on mouse pads. So for a mouse pad, let's say, this would be about 150 entries towards our staycation giveaway, and you enter automatically. And again, that's that 4th link down below. I really do appreciate you guys' time. If you guys have any questions, you guys know how to reach out to me. And again, all the information should be down in the description. Thank you guys again. I hope that it earned your thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.